Hey everybody, welcome in. We're going to get into a week 3 start and sit. Don't really have any news, updates on injuries. Most of you probably get it from your sites. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and I'll get the answers that I have for you guys. I'm going to get right into it. We're going to start. The way I'm going to do this is my starts are going to be a little lower on the list, people that you probably wouldn't start on a weekly basis or that may be struggling. My sits are going to be people that are a little higher on the list that you're normally going to start every week. Some of you may not be able to sit them. I know I'm playing some of them in my lineups, but you just got to temper your expectations. So I'll start off with my starts. I'll give you one at each position. We'll start off with quarterback. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. Kansas City has given up the second most points to QBs the first 2 weeks. So look for this game to either turn into a shootout or Kansas City pulling away. And it's going to be on the shoulders of Cousins to kind of keep Atlanta in this game. He kind of started to settle in a little bit against the Eagles. So hopefully that'll continue. And these weapons that everybody paid the high draft prices for will start to pay off as the season goes on. So Kirk Cousins, start him if you're in a pinch and you need a quarterback. Running back, Zamir White, who has been hot garbage first 2 weeks, but expect the Raiders to probably be playing ahead in this game. I know Andy Dalton's going to be starting for the Panthers, but I don't see them really pulling out ahead of the Raiders. And I think Zamir White needs the lead to be able to be successful because they lean on Alexander Mattison more when they're passing the ball. So I could see Zamir White kind of having a game this week, and it may be your chance to sell him high before you get too deep into the season. But Zamir White, the Panthers are giving up 29.4 points per game to the running back position, which is absolutely terrible. They've allowed the most yards before contact per attempt and the 7th highest rush EPA. So get Zamir White in your lineups, and we may be talking about him as a sell high come next week. Wide receiver, Greg Dortch. Dortch had a pretty decent first game and then kind of fell to the wayside of Marvin Harrison this past week. But Detroit is allowing the most fantasy points per game to the slot position, receiver position at 28. And to be fair, they face Cooper Kupp and Chris Godwin weeks 1 and 2. So don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting Greg Dortch to put up 28 points. But he's proven that Kyler Murray can trust him. And could be a solid flex option with all the injuries that have happened the past week or two. So if you need a flex or hurting a receiver, give Greg Dortch a look. He should be able to put up double-digit points this week. Getting into the tight end position, Jonnu Smith. It's tough because Skylar Thompson's starting. But Seattle's given up the 8th most points against tight ends this year. Jonnu Smith had 7 targets last game. You could be looking at Smith or Thompson trying to find that cushion or that comfort blanket, and maybe Jonnu Smith will be that guy. So a lot of us are struggling at tight end. Don't be afraid to maybe throw Jonnu Smith in there and give him a shot going into this week. All right, now we're going to get into our sits. These are going to be players that are a little higher on your team. Most of us, I won't be able to sit them. The first guy, right off the bat, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud struggled a little bit against a solid Bears defense this past week. And he's facing an even more stout defense this coming week in the Vikings. Brian Flores has that defense unstoppable right now. Through 2 weeks, they have 11 sacks, most in the league. only allowing 11 points per game to the position. And like I said, Stroud just struggled against the Bears defense. So expect the Vikings to get after him early and often, and possibly look at other options this week. But like I said, these are going to be your higher end options that you drafted to start every week. So just temper those expectations. Running back, we're going to go with J.K. Dobbins. Had him in my sell high yesterday, and one of the reasons why is his upcoming schedule. J.K. Dobbins, he's facing a really tough matchup this week in the Steelers, who are third best against the run, only allowing 64 yards per game and no TDs yet. He has Gus Edwards still splitting carries. This could be a more of a defensive game. So they're going to run a lot, but expect those carries to be split, and just expect his efficiency not to be quite as good as it has been this season so far. Next one. One of my bucks, hurts to say, but Mike Evans. One thing the Broncos have done well this year is shut down receivers. They're number one against the receivers in fantasy this year, only allowing 87 yards per game to the position with no touchdowns. Expect Evans to be covered a lot by Patrick Surtain, as he's has a shadow rate of 70.6%, and he's allowed 0 TDs and 53 yards in the first 2 weeks. So expect Evans to see a lot of Surtain. I know Evans, he is dominant in the red zone. I could see him pulling off a touchdown, but just beware. It's a tough matchup for the receivers for the Bucs this week. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Dalton Kincaid. I have him in like 3 leagues, drafted him high. Pretty disappointing first 2 weeks. And I don't think it's going to get much better this week. He may be one of my buy lows next week, as the Jags are the 4th best against the tight end, giving up 3 receptions for 18 yards in the first 2 weeks with no touchdowns. Unfortunately, Kincaid will have to be started in most leagues because there's not really any other options at tight end. So you drafted him probably in the top 5, at worst top 6 tight ends, more than likely. You're probably starting him because you drafted him there. So just temper those expectations. And if you don't have them, just like who'd I put on there as a can't remember who I was talking about. But anyways, expect Dalton Kincaid to probably be on my buy low show next week if he performs like I think he will against the Jags. Remember to hit that subscribe button in the bottom corner. Shoot us some comments, shoot us some questions. I'll be happy to answer them on the show tomorrow if you have them. If not, I'll answer them right in the comments. But we will catch you guys tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it.